Hey guys, I'm from One to Pass here, and today I'm going to be doing my Seeker, Saver, Dragon plus Altmile deck. So overall, I'd say this deck is pretty high tier. It's actually comparable to Dragonic Overlord Cross, but anyways, I'm just going to get started off with the starting Vanguard. So starting Vanguard is Advanced Party Seeker Files. So his ability is to put him in his soul. When your Vanguard legions, you can pay that cost, and then you can search your deck for one copy of Blaster Blade Seeker and call him to rearguard. So it gives you one rearguard, and then potentially, if you're using Blaster Blade skill, you get to retire. But the most important thing is that you get the +1 soul for using Saber's ability. So yeah. And then next up, I run 4 copies of Blue Sky Knight Altmile. So Altmile has 2 skills. So the first one is Generation Break 2. So during your turn, all your units in front row gets +5k, which is pretty good because you're making like 21k lines if you have full rear guards. And then his second ability is when you stride, you can counterblast 1, and then you can choose up to 2 cards from your hand, call them to separate rear guards, and they both get +5k. So Altmile, he's searchable with the Silicus, plus also the +5k gives you a lot of pressure, like lets you hit for a lot high numbers early, which is something usually that happens later game, but with Altmile it happens early on when you stride. Then I run 4 copies of Seeker, Saver, Dragon. So Saver, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what it does now, but for those of you guys that don't know, his ability is Counterblast 2, Soul Blast free, ditch 2 cards. At the end of the battle that is attacked, if this unit's in Legion, then you can Superior Ride a Seeker Saber Dragon from your deck and ride it as stand, and then perform Legion with a Blaster Blade Seeker in your soul. So basically what you can do is, if you have enough soul, so if you have 5 soul and 4 open Counterblast, you can potentially double restand in one turn. It's a pseudo restand because you don't keep any effects that you put on the Vanguard, but you can just shove everything onto rear guards, which should be full since you're playing Royal Paladin. And then he also swings for 22 by himself, so it's not just the 20k, it's really good. So you run 4 copies because you need copies of him to get his ability off. Then I run 4 copies of Blaster Blade Seeker. I was considering running 3 copies of him, but thing is that since I'm using File, I want to get another copy of him. Plus, you need to Legion 1 copy. So you could cut him down to 3, but I'll see what happens later on. But anyways, his ability is to Counterblast 1 when he's placed on rearguard. If you have a Vanguard with Seeker in his name, you can retire a grade 2 or higher in... Yeah, you can retire any grade 2 or higher rearguard from your opponent. So he lets you get a bit of control. You usually want to ride into Altmile first, but if on the off chance that you ride into Saber, or if you ride into Blaster Blade, you can call another Blaster Blade, snipe something. Lets you get back control, which is pretty crazy because this deck already has so much fielding potential that the snipe is a really good toolbox. Then I run 2 copies of Jewel Knight Sword Me. So you might be wondering, what the heck, why are you playing Jewel Knight? This doesn't make sense. So basically, the idea in this deck is that Sword Me is a really good card. Because his ability is you counterblast 1 card with Jewel Knight in its name, and then that's when this is placed on rear guards. So you get to call 1 grade 1 or lower Jewel Knight card to rear guard. So it can make a full column. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm playing around 6 Jewel Knight grade 1s, and then I'm playing 12 Jewel Knight triggers. So it's a very high chance that you're going to damage check a Jewel Knight, so you can get this guy's ability off. I would like to run this guy at free, but I don't have free copies right now. If I did, then I would replace 1 Knight of Twin Sword, which is the next card I'm going to go over. So Knight of Twin Sword, his ability is Generation Break 1. When he's on rear guard, when he's boosted, you can search your deck for 1 grade 2 not named Knight of Twin Sword and call it to rear guard. So basically, one of the main combos in this deck you can do with this guy is you can use Knight of Twin Sword boosted. You can get a Sword Me, and then Sword Me can get you another rear guard column. So you basically get a full rear guard column for 2 counterblasts, which is really insane. But yeah, it's what this deck does. It's really good deck. Then I run 2 Knight of Fragments. Knight of Fragment is basically is 11k attacker that gets the Soul Charge 1 on flip 1 when you have 2 or more grade 2 rear guards, including himself. So he's also a good target for Knight of Twin Sword, and yeah, he lets you unflip and Soul Charge, which is really high pressure. It's pretty good to call with Altmile to get the power bonus, because your opponent doesn't want to let it hit, but if they're guarding for 15k stages, then it sucks for them. Then I run for grade 1s, starting off with Sentinel. So I'm running 3 Holy Knight Guardian. So this is the Unflipper Perfect card. So basically what happens is that you can unflip a damage when you have a copy of another perfect guard in the drop zone. So yeah, you can unflip damage, which is really good in Royals because you use Counterblast a lot to call units. Yeah, I really like the unflipping Counterblast because it lets you use your Counterblast a lot more freely. You don't really have to carry too much. And then I run one of the normal perfect guards. Now, you might be wondering, why the heck won't you max out on the unflipping PGs? Well, I do have like another... I do have 4 copies, but reason why is I want to tech 1 copy because Draconic Overlord across is a thing. Now, if my entire locals was filled with Dodex players, then I would probably max out on just normal perfect guards. But since that's not the case, I'm only going to run 1 just for the off chance that I do play the matchup and I do get it in the hand to protect my rear guards. Because the thing with the unflipping PGs is that they can't guard the rear guards. So they can just swing Dodex to rear guard and then restand. But yeah, that's about it for that. Then I run 4 copies of Laurel Knight Silicus. So Silicus is what I like to call Stride Enabler. So when you place it on rear guard, you can search for, you can reveal grade 3, and then search your deck for Altmile, add him to hand, and then ditch 1 card. And then his second ability, that's when he's placed on rear guard. And then the second ability is that he is a +2 grade in hand, so you can just ditch him for a stride cost, which is really nice. Then for Jewel Knight stuff, I run 4 Shelly's because Shelly has cool art, and then I run 1 Prismy. Now, here's my tech card, Jewel Knight Tiffany. So Tiffany, you can put her into Soul. You can give 2 Jewel Knights plus 3k, which is pretty nice because if you have like a Sword Me Shelly column or something, then you can turn that into a 22 column, which is pretty nice. It gives you +1 Soul to help pay for Fang Saber's cost. Yeah, this is just a combo with Sword Me again. So then I'm going to run 4 Margles, because Margles is the best draw trigger for Royals, especially with Fang Saber. He's a Soul Charge free, Soul Charge put into Soul. You give a unit plus 3k, so you can help build power lines. It actually makes a 21 column with a Knight of Fragment, so you usually want to target him for that. Then for triggers, I run standard 8 crit and 4 heal. So yeah, you need the Jewel Knight ones because for the special counterblast with Sword Me, 844 is really standard in his deck. You need the draw power, but at the same time you need the crit pressure with Fang Saber. So yeah, that's about it for the main deck. For the Stride deck, let's start off with 4 copies of... Oh, just kidding. I'm going to start with Gutblade instead. 3 copies of Shrouded Divine Knight Gutblade. So his ability is that when this unit attack hits, you can search for a grade 2 or greater card and call it to rearguard circles. So your main combo would be to put like something, a rearguard booster here. You have him on Vanguard. You swing, it hits. You call Knight of Twin Sword. And then Knight of Twin Sword boosted. Call Sword Me skill. You call a Jewel Knight. So, what the heck? I can just call any Jewel Knight I want, really. So basically, you just got a full field for what? 2 Counterblasts. So it's a really good combo. They never want to let this hit, but the problem is that if they do want to expend a PG on Gutblade, then they're gonna get screwed over by either Fang Saber or the next Stride unit I'm gonna go over, which is Holy Dragon, Saint Blow Dragon. So you gotta run 4 copies of this guy. So his ability is Persona Unflip 1. Basically, you unflip 1 face down copy of him in the G zone. He gets plus 3,000 for each rear guard, potentially going up to 41,000. And then if you have 2 or more face up units in your G zone and you have 2 or more rear guards, then he gets plus 1 critical. So yeah, it's really insane because you can swing for freaking 46 with crit, and they have to PG that too. And then if they use PGs, then Fang Saber. And then finally, 1 copy of Atmos. I didn't want to max on Gutblade because you never use more than 3 anyways. But his, basically, it's when you know your opponent doesn't have PGs, you're out of Saint Blows, and the 36 becomes pretty scary to guards. So yeah, I really like this deck. It's pretty powerful. It's very consistent. It has a lot of good matchups. It's why it's top tier. Yeah, the only adjustments I'd probably make would be with my Sword Bees and stuff. But yeah, overall, it's a great deck. I highly recommend building it if you have the money. This deck's like $300 or so. Yeah, around there somewhere. A bit less probably. But anyways, yeah, that's about it for this video. Just like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Later.